Hello, welcome. This is Sam of Sam Bookery, and in today's video, I'm going to do a full step-by-step tutorial on how to make this adorable mini journal. This is my Ginger Frost mini journal. It is a kit available for purchase on my website, sambookery.com, that you can print out and create along with me. These mini journals are so cute and fun to make, and they take no time at all. So let's get started. First, you'll want to print everything out. There are only a few pages in the kit. This is the main journal here. These are the individual pages in the journal. You'll want to print this out on regular paper. I use 32-pound paper for mine. Backing it is optional. I backed mine with this print because I do want to use some hidden pockets, and you will be able to see a little bit inside the pocket. But that is optional. Then we've got some of the ephemera. We've got a pocket, tags, fussy cuts, journaling cards, and some labels. This I printed on cardstock. I use 80-pound cardstock for mine. And I did back this with that same snowball print. And then we've got some extra little envelopes here. A couple of coin envelopes with matching cards and a point flap envelope. And I backed mine with this navy blue and white print. So once you get everything printed out, we are just going to start cutting. Next, we need to get everything cut out. You can use a paper trimmer and some scissors, or just a pair of scissors if that's all you have. I like to use tiny scissors for doing the little fussy cuts. And these Tim Holtz Tonic Studio scissors for cutting the larger pieces. This is one of my favorite paper trimmers by Fiskars. It's got a piece of wire and it shows you exactly where you're trimming, so you can be pretty accurate with this. So I like to use this for trimming out the large rectangles. So just trimming the white edge off around the journal pages here. Okay, that's trimmed out. And I think the rest we'll just use scissors for. If you want to save this, this is the name of the kit, Ginger Frost. You can, I'll show you, we can cut this out and we can use this as a label if we want for the kit. So I'll hang on to that. You don't have to, but in case we want to use that somewhere later. And then I think it's good to kind of get around here. I try to section things into manageable sections when I'm cutting. I do want to let you know that you can use a 1-inch circle punch to punch out the circles in the kit. And it's easier to punch them out when you leave them attached instead of just cutting right around them. All right, looks pretty good. There we go. Let's cut out all these tags. These kits have such a big impact. They're so tiny. It's only a couple pages of printing, so not a big expense of ink or paper. And they just look so adorable. And this one is so tiny, it will fit into a Christmas stocking if you wanted to give this as a gift. Who doesn't love tiny things? All right, so we've got our 3 tags. Let me clear this off. All right, we've got 2 fussy cuts in this kit. We've got this little car and the snowman. If you don't want to fussy cut them out, you can simply cut them into a square or rectangle. It'd be super cute if you rounded the corners on it. Oh, I didn't get in there. And you can just use this as a journaling card and stick it in one of these pockets here. You're gonna want to cut closer on this side. But I like to cut off fussy cuts. I'm gonna cut them out, but that is an alternative if you are not interested in cutting out the fussy cuts. They're pretty easy to cut out. You just want to make your scissors kind of stable. Don't move your scissors hand, just move the paper as you're closing the scissors. It's kind of just coordinating both of your hands to be closing the scissors at the same speed that you're turning the paper. And you can leave a much bigger border on this if that's something you want to do and make it look more like a sticker maybe. Leave a white edge around it. I just started cutting right on the edge, so that's what I'm going to finish doing. And I don't worry about being exact. Just have fun, do the best you can. There's our little snowman, super cute. So it's a tiny kit, but I don't give you guys a bunch of tiny cutting, just these 2. Now this is small, but I think we can do it because it's a pretty simple shape. And I cut fast. When I sew fast. I just do it fast. You can take your time and be nice and accurate and precise on yours if that's the way you work. I'm more just get it done quick. Okay. And here's our tiny little car. It's so cute. Let's get back. Everything else is pretty simple. Straight edges. Let's see. I try to look for where things line up. I think the top of these 3 line up, so that's one long cut. And that's something you can use your paper trimmer for. If you're trying to save some time or some hand fatigue from cutting. That's another reason I love these Tim Holtz scissors, which is not a reason I usually remember to mention because I don't notice because I'm not in pain. But you know, a lot of scissors will leave like giant dents in your fingers and your thumb from the constant opening and closing and the pressure. These have like the squishy comfort grip and you don't get those painful dents. Like if I do a ton of fussy cutting, I get the dents in my finger from these because they have a rubber grip, but it's not like this. This is so nice. And you don't get those just painful spots on your fingers and thumb, so you can keep cutting for longer. I really will cut entire kits out with these scissors and not have any hand fatigue. So we're just going to cut out these word strips here. I cut them out the full size, but depending on where I put them, I may shorten them, but we'll save that to the end. And you can do that with any of the word strips. You know, I usually make them longer than like they need to be. And then depending on where you want to put them, you can fit them to that space. All right, let's separate some of this. We've got cookies over here. Okay, you don't need to cut this out if you have a circle punch, because you can just punch it out. And I don't know if you guys can see, I just line it up and make sure that I can see a little bit of the brown outside of the white. And we got perfect notched pocket there. But scissors work just as well too. But if you have a 1-inch circle punch, super quick work of it. So this is going to fold and it's going to be a nice gusseted pocket. This is where I will lose those word strips. I think I've mentioned this in other videos. So like check your scraps before you toss them. Okay, I know it was here somewhere. Okay, it's not this one. It's not this one. Ha, okay, cookies. Yes, it just looks like another scrap, but I know there was a cookies in here somewhere. So keep an eye on these. I have had to dig in my trash a couple times and say, I know I had more word strips in this kit. Where are they? All right, there's our cookies. Let me put these all over here. Okay, we've got 2 pockets here. They are nice gusseted pockets. So gusseted just means it's got the tabs on it. You're not just gluing one flat piece of paper down to your page. You're gluing the tabs down, and they kind of make the pocket a lot thicker. Not thicker, a lot roomier, right? So you can fit a lot more into it. Tops of these pockets are very slight curve. You could just cut them off straight, but they do have a very slight curve to them. Just follow the edge of the print, and you'll be fine. So there's our pocket. And our second pocket. And we're almost done with this sheet. It's so fast, you guys. All right, we got 2 tickets. Let's chop them out. Now there is a trick of using a hole punch to punch these notches out of the corner. My hole punch is on its last legs. It is like pinching the paper. So I don't give it extra work. I need to replace it. So I will just use my scissors. But if you have one, you can just like overlap the corners and punch that white part off. But a pair of scissors works just as well. You just kind of cut and curve the paper. Get this cute ticket stub corner here. There we go. Now I've got to find all of those. There's our tickets. We've got another little label here. Or word strip, I guess. If it's got words, it's a word strip. When I do labels, they're blank. All right, there's our snowman. And these are little tabs. When you cut out tabs, you kind of just want to cut them out into their general square or rectangle shape and not follow the edge on the part that's going to be folded. So let me show you. So we've got them cut out. We're going to fold them in the center here, and then we'll cut the white parts out. If you do it first, they won't match up when you fold them usually. So we're going to fold them in half. Little press with the bone folder, and now we're just going to cut off the white bits from the sides. And then here's what you end up with. Open, but closed, they match perfectly. We'll do the same thing to the second one. And there we go. I'm going to pull out a few things. This pocket, this one, and this one all need to be scored and folded. The rest of this stuff is done and ready to go, so I'm going to put it aside here for a minute. But we need to do that to these two, so I'm going to save them all. We'll do them all together. Let's see. This one, let's cut out here. So we've got 3 envelope sets. There's an envelope and a matching card. And you can just use these as envelopes and tuck them into pockets, or just print this page out and make some mini envelopes to use for other projects. But I like to incorporate the envelopes into the structure of the journal. So I'll show you what I mean when we get to assembly, which is next. So if you're following along with me, don't get ahead of me and start gluing your envelopes closed just yet. Let me show you how we're going to add them to the journal structure. So we're just cutting around the outside. There is a nice white, very fine, but white border where we're going to be scoring and folding as a guide for you. On this one, the coin envelopes, not so much. They're very simple to fold. All right, so here's this one. Here's our little envelope. And there's some large bits here, so we might want to hang on to this scrap in case we need to punch any extra circles, or we want to cut our own tabs or something out of this. Maybe I'll cut this bit off. And I already cut through here. So we'll do this. And we'll save these scraps in case we want to use them. And that's just a standard procedure I do with most kits. And if there's a shape you like, but you don't like the print, you like the print on one of the scraps better, just trace it onto the scrap and print it out of that one. That way you're not wasting ink and you're getting exactly what you want. Like one example would be if you wanted to use tabs, but the only options I have, the way I printed mine, is this tan or this light blue. If I wanted a tab in a dark blue, I can just trace that on here and cut it out, and now I've got dark blue tabs I can use. So that's one way to use your scraps. Here's our little journal card. And here is the matching envelope. Coin envelopes are one of my favorites. I love these. I don't know why. They're super easy to make. And I love using them as flips in my journal. They're already, the top flap is already like a built-in hinge to turn it into a flip, just to add some interactive elements to your journal. So we'll be doing some of that when we put this journal together. All right, these are too small to save. So here's the journal, the coin envelope. I don't have the lines on here because it's super easy. You're just going from this point to this point and this point. You're just going to the points. Let's cut out this second one, and then that's it. We're done. We're done cutting. So I'm doing this in real time so you guys can cut with me, and just to see how long does this project take. It's really not much time at all. And you don't have to do this all in one sitting, you know. A lot of times I'll print one day, I'll sit and cut in the evening one day and just save all the pieces, and then another day I'll do the assembly. So it's easy to fit in if you have a busy schedule. Okay. I hope you felt like that was fast. We're done. We cut everything out for this super cute, super stuffed mini journal. Let's grab a scoring board. If you don't have a scoring board, grab a ruler and something kind of dull that you can use to press a line in. Some people use just the edge of their scissors. Just don't press too hard. You can use a ballpoint pen that's run out of ink. But on these pockets with the 3 tabs, we're just going to follow the line, lining it up with one line on our scoring board, and just press. So rotate it and do that for each tab. And then you're going to fold these tabs back and set the crease with your bone folder. And there is our little mini pocket. We'll do the same thing for the second one. You don't need to press hard when you're creasing. Just a medium amount of pressure. You're just trying to relax the paper. You're not trying to damage it or cut through it. We fold them back. And then this is, you know, as always, when you're doing this, if you like what's on the back better, fold the tabs the other way and make your pocket out of this. Super easy change. All right, there's our 2 pockets. And now we've got this one. We're gonna score on this black line here. And then we've got 2 tabs we need to score. We're going to fold the tabs in first, press with our bone folder, and now we're going to fold this in half and press. And this becomes a little freestanding pocket. You can, I usually glue it to the journal, but you can tuck it into another pocket. You can make it, leave this on the outside, glue this down, and make it a hinge. Ooh, we might do that. But we'll see. Every time I make this, I make it differently because there's so many ways you can put this together. But normal, standard way, 2 tabs are in, glue on the 2 tabs, and you just close it. And there's your little pocket. We'll decide on that when we assemble it. All right, coin envelopes. I think it'd be easier for you to see on this side. This corner to this corner, just kind of line them up. Just rotate and do each side. So I'm just lining up this point here and this point here on the same line on my scoring board. So on the coin envelopes, you've got the 2 side flaps. You've got the bottom flap, which is angled, and the top flap, which is curved. You're going to fold in the side flaps first. Now usually I'll fold in the short one and then the wide one, or the narrow one and the wide one, and you guys can see one's wider than the other so they can overlap, so when you glue them closed. And then we fold up the bottom. One thing to notice, these flaps don't go all the way to the bottom here. So when you're putting glue on this flap, I only put glue on the very edge because that's going to touch up here. You don't want to put glue down here. You're going to glue this whole bottom bit together, and it'll glue the bottom closed here. And then we're going to fold the top flap down. There's our coin envelope, and we've got one more of those. And same thing. The skinny flap, the wide flap, bottom, and top. And then we just have our pointed flap envelope, and we are just going, same thing, corner to corner, but we've got white lines on here to help guide us, because it gets a little harder lining this up with the rounded edges on our scoring board. Okay, and we just need to fold them in. Actually, on this one, you're going to do your side flaps will be in first. This is the way we will glue it later. And then the bottom flap up, and then the pointy flap down. There's our mini envelope. Like I said, don't glue anything yet. We'll do that in the assembly section. But we are done. That's everything cut out, scored, and folded. So now we are ready to assemble this journal. All right, let's assemble it. This is a zine style journal. If you've ever done one of those, it's a super simple folding method. We are going to fold it in half, the long direction. When you do that, you're just trying to line up your edges and corners as best you can. Try not to lean into the shot here. Yeah, so. All right, and then use your bone folder or, your fingernail to press the crease in. So we're gonna open it up and we're gonna fold it the opposite direction. In school, they teach you hot dog fold and hamburger fold, or even just in origami, they teach you that. So both directions and crease it. Now we are going to open it and fold the edge into the center crease here. And press it with our bone folder. Do the same thing to this side. Okay. Okay, and now you want to fold all those creases again, but the opposite direction. So now we're folding this way. So you'll be seeing the white or whatever you backed your journal with. And then this way. And press it with your bone folder. And that just relaxes the paper a little more and makes assembly a little bit easier. Okay, now we want to take here's your paper, right? We're going to fold it in half like this. We're going to have the journal pages facing us. Let's go ahead and set that crease. We are going to make one cut with our scissors. And that is from here to here. So we're just going to follow this dark line, right? The top of this house page, and cut it. All right, and we're stopping when we get to this fold here. And we cut through both layers at the same time. And that is the magic of this. So you can see, here's our paper, but these are cut right here. So here's how you assemble it. There's probably another way. This is how I do it. I lay it flat and I squish them up and I press them in. So now you've made like a diamond shape here. Press. And then this one and this one, I'm pressing towards my right hand because I know this is the cover and this is the back. And now that goes to the back. And that's our journal. But you do have to do a little work pressing in the creases so that it doesn't look so sloppy. And that's what we're going to do next. So we do need to glue the pages. Some of them we're going to make pockets out of. So 2 of the pages are open at the top and the bottom. 2 of the pages are open at the side and the bottom. And we can use that to our advantage to make pockets inside the journal, or we're going to add in some envelope flips by gluing them into the journal pages before we glue them closed. So that's what we're going to do next. So grab a glue. I love art glitter glue. You only need to use a tiny bit. It's a permanent bond and it dries very quickly. But you could also use Elmer's glue, PVA glue, glue stick is a great option. Use what you have. We're going to start with the cover. I'm not going to add anything to the cover, like inside. So we're going to glue this closed. So I just press on the fold and that makes this kind of, let me show you, poof out like this. And I'm just going to run glue along this edge, the very edge, and then just press it closed. And we'll do that on the top and the bottom. Now this next page, I want to make this a pocket in here. So to do that, I just need to glue the bottom on this one. So I'm just going to run glue along this bottom edge here to close this up, and I want to align the points in the corner together as best I can. And now we've got a pocket here, and I'm going to tuck one of these envelopes, coin envelopes, into this pocket later on. So let's go ahead and we're going to line up the corner of this page with the corners of the cover underneath it, and we're going to just hold on to it and use our bone folder to press out this page just to set the folds and make it lie nice and flat. Okay, now it's nice and flat. On this one, I thought, because this page is pretty plain, it'd be super cute to have this coin envelope here as part of the page, and then this, when you get to this page, it'll flip up and then you can pull the card out of the envelope. And normally when you add an envelope flip to a journal, your pages are just a single page and you just layer the flap over it and glue the flap onto the other side of the page. I didn't want to do that and cover up Santa's head here. So we're going to tuck this flap into this opening here between the pages. It's just going to go right here. And we're going to glue the flap to the page, and then we're going to glue the page top closed. And then we'll glue the bottom closed. Okay? So we can go ahead and assemble the rest of this envelope because we're not going to do anything with the other flaps. We just need this flap loose. So you're going to run glue along the very edge of this narrow side, and then on the wide side we're going to do it on the inside of the flap. So outside of the flap on the narrow, inside on the wide, and that way when you fold them in half you've got like a double glue bond here, and it keeps it very secure. And then we're going to do the bottom and just run glue on the very edge here on the bottom. Now we want to put this flap inside here, and I kind of want it centered on the page, so that's what I'm looking at now. I think that's pretty good. We're just going to put glue on this flap. Don't get too close to the fold. So here's good. We're gonna press this open and slide the flap in, kind of get it centered. That looks good. And then press it down. There's our flip. And on this side, we did not interrupt our imagery over there. And now we're just doing the same thing we did on the first page, which is kind of open this up and add a little bit of glue inside and then press it closed. And do it on the top and the bottom. So we've got our first page, our cover really, but our first page, our second page, and then we've got this one. So we kind of want to just make sure the edges are lined up and just press towards this center here. All All right, and we just have our last page. And our last page, I'm not going to make a pocket on this one. One option is to use this and tuck the flap inside. Let me pre-press it. So you can see when we get to the end now how this is not laying flat anymore. We want to line up these 2 points down here. Hold them and press away from them. Now it's flat. So we could tuck this envelope point inside the pocket and this would flip out. But this is a pretty plain page. There's nothing that I'm going to accidentally cover up here, and I think it would look cuter to have the envelope here on top of this page. So that's what we're going to do. So once we're doing that, we can go ahead and glue this page closed along the side and the bottom. And just try to make sure your corners are lined up again. Looks good. Now, one last fold, and this one's always tough because this back page has to fold over the bulk of all the other pages here. But kind of give them a pull. Till the edges are fairly lined up, and then give it a crease. It won't be perfect because there's the bulk of all of these folds in here. It looks pretty good. It's pretty flat. Now we're going to add this envelope. So I think it would look cute like this, and then to open up. Now, I didn't have you glue them just in case we wanted to do something like have this open up even more, kind of unfolding like a flower or something. Let's see, where's the card that goes in it? Here's the card. But I think it's still going to be easy enough to get this card out if the envelope's closed. So I think we'll go ahead and glue this envelope closed. So you're going to put glue. So here's the top, here's the bottom, right? You're going to put a little bit of glue here. And then on this side, more towards this top. And less is more, because you don't want to glue your envelope closed. And before your glue sets, oops, open your envelope up and just make sure you didn't glue it closed. On these tiny envelopes, there's not a lot of overlap for the glue, so sometimes it will seep. There we go, there's our tiny envelope, and I'm gonna glue that. Kind of want to put it right here. So we'll open this flap and just add glue around the edge. And now we've got this interactive element on the back of the journal. And then we can go ahead and fold this. On this one, I like this blue paper better. So I'm gonna fold this deer on the inside and leave the navy blue on the outside. So we've got glue on the inside, or I'm sorry, the outside of the narrow flap, on the inside of the wide flap. Put them together in the very bottom of this bottom flap. And there's our coin envelope, and let's see if it fits in this pocket. Yeah, so that fits in there. And that's the major structure. We've got this guy. I haven't done anything with him yet. Let's see, we were thinking about doing something different with him. You know what might be cute? Is if we tuck it here and it flips out this way. I have not done that before. So let's do that. In order for that to work, we still need to glue this closed. So we're gonna need to glue on this bottom flap and along this edge here so that it still forms a closed envelope, and this flap just becomes a hinge to hinge it into the page. So let's do that. So now we've made a pocket that's got a little hinge on it. We can really put this anywhere. You can just glue it. Oh, it might be cute too. We can just glue it here to the paper and then it flips open like this. Let's do that. I kind of like that sitting right inside this like journaling square. All right, let's do that. I tell you, every time I make one of these, I do something different. It's just so fun. You don't have to, so be creative. Think of different ways you can put this together. You don't have to do it the way I do. I never do it the way I do 2 times in a row. So, and I made this journal like a couple days ago, and now I'm putting it together differently. All right, so there we go. And now we've got this flipping out. I just think it's more fun to have interactive elements. So we've got this page. We've got a pocket here with an envelope in it, which we're gonna do some more to that in a minute. Here we've got this flip pocket. Here we got this flip up, and on the back we've got a flip out. Super cute and interactive. Now let's add some of these fun details. I do usually start with like the biggest things and maybe the most structural, which are these other 2 pockets. And then we've got tabs, which you kind of want to pay attention to because they'll go on like 2 sides of a surface. And then the rest, we're just tucking into pockets or making like extra little pockets with. So we've got all this fun stuff. So let's find somewhere for these 2 pockets. I'm just referencing this one to see what I did, but we've already done something totally different because I put this inside the front page on here. And I used the Santa to decorate that, the snowman to decorate that page. So I do like the idea of this gingerbread man kind of like jumping out of a pocket. We've got this like snowflake one, and we've got this one. I like this one here because it's like a gingerbread cookie, like snowflake cookie, and he's jumping out of the pocket. So let's put that here. But seriously, no right or wrong. Put things wherever you want. We've got this pocket, and we've got this guy, and these little fussy cuts. All right, let's see what else we can do here. We need somewhere for this pocket. I think should we put it up front here? My other option, was just to stick one of these cards down just as an image. I kind of like this. We can add the snowman here and the little snowman label. It pays to take a little time to plan out where you want to put things before you start gluing, because you might think of a better place to put them as you go along, and then it's too late. And I think I'll just put the Santa label here. Yeah, so that just leaves here for the pocket. So we'll put this pocket here. I think that'll be good. I'm just lining it up so it's kind of centered on this coin envelope. All right, that looks good. We're gonna label Santa. Let's go ahead and label Santa. And we're gonna put the snowman on the front cover. I think he looks good in this like Winterland scene here. Winter Wonderland. All right, let's plop him down here. I don't know. I don't think that's centered, but it's good. Okay, I'm gonna round a few corners on things. It's a little easier to get, and I'm gonna trim this down, ephemera in and out of the envelopes if the corners are rounded, and if they're a little bit smaller, they'll come in and out a little bit easier. So I just trimmed a tiny bit off the edge, and I'm gonna round the corner. Definitely not necessary, just a preference of mine. And I'm gonna put these presents in here. But you see, I just trimmed it a tiny bit and rounded the corners, and it goes right in. It'll fit the other way, but that way is a little bit easier. And let's see, we'll put the ephemera in there. So let me round the corners of this one. And of course you can round your corners with scissors, just zoop. That's a technical term, you guys, zoop. All right, put that in there. We've got this coin envelope hiding in here. So I'll show you, they fit in fine, but it's just a little tight if you don't. I like the rounded corners. It just looks cuter. Okay, so that's in there. Now this, because if you put it all the way in the pocket, it's pretty far in. You might not notice it's in there. So I thought it'd be cute to stick a little tab on this envelope. We want to make sure we don't cover up the flap here, just as a way to pull it out of this pocket here. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to put a little line of glue along this bottom edge. I'm gonna lift this flap up so I don't accidentally glue that, and just line it up here. And I'm just gonna check to make sure it's straight before I really press the glue in. All right, and now we'll glue on this side. Now, when this is in here, you can kind of see the tab and be able to pull it out easier. What should we put in here? Oh, you know where another place for a tab would be cute was on here too, so that you know this is a flip and to help you flip it open. I'm just looking to see if I want to use the, no, I think I'll stick with blue. We'll stick with blue, but let's put a tab on here. Does that look good? That looks good. All right, there we go. And I think I did in the other one, I put this here as, because you know normally on an envelope flap, they go this way and you put your little circle seal on them. I thought that would be cute to put here just to collage it down. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and round the corners on these. Most of the supplies and materials I use are in my Amazon store, and there's a link to that in the description if you're interested in any of these. I am an Amazon affiliate, so I do get a small commission on eligible purchases, and that just helps me to buy more glue, you guys, and printer paper. You know what? All right, because we are using this flap, this pocket is not as wide anymore because we had to put glue here. So if we're putting something in this pocket, we need to make it a little narrower. These tags are plenty narrow enough to fit in here. So I think that will be fine. So let's find somewhere to put these. These are gonna go in here. Let's stick this little cute snowman, I don't know. I can't get my winter critters down right. This little penguin peeking out of this pocket. And then we've got this one here. I think would be cute. I'm trying to figure out which way the music notes go. I don't know. I don't think it matters. I think I'm gonna glue the snowman on here. Well, I got two options. Let's see. We can put this in here and we can glue the snowman to the page underneath. So when you take this out, then the snowman is revealed, which might be cute. Or we can just put him on the card. And then, oh, no, let's just do this. Let's not glue him anywhere. We'll leave him in here as like a little interactive element, like a little paper doll, and he can just come in and out of the pocket. Okay, we'll do that. We've got a teeny tiny car to put somewhere. Keep an eye, we're gonna put that somewhere. What's left? Here's where I usually take stock. What have I got left? 3 tags, which I need to add something to the top of, and 2 tickets and a label. So let's start from the beginning. We've already got labels. Definitely need to put something in here. And maybe something behind it. No, we're gonna leave this. This is like secret journaling space where you can write something. We'll leave that. We already put something in there, so I think we need to put cookies here. I think it fits perfectly across as like a band, but this is where I was saying if you want to cut it down and kind of float this label in the middle, let's do that. Because I think I did one like that here where I did it all the way across the pocket, which looks cute. You know what? I like it that way though. But if you want to cut it down and just have the label like floating, or the word strip floating in the middle, you can do that as well. I kind of like it going all the way across. It kind of looks like it's wrapping around the pocket. So let's just put that here. All right, we've got some tickets. Which, all right, I said I was gonna leave that as journaling space, but I think I'm just gonna do this because I'm not gonna write in here. I'm gonna make this ticket a pocket to put this ticket into. So we'll just glue on the sides and the bottom. Put that there. That works. And tuck that little stocking ticket into. Oh, we've got the car. Okay, well don't forget the car, but let's do something to the tops of these. We can punch a hole and tie some string through it. I think we'll do that. I think I'll just use a regular hole punch. I think it's slightly smaller than a regular hole punch. I think it's a crocodile size. Let's see. Yeah, if you want to do it exactly, it's the 3/16 hole punch size. But I've got an idea that I want to put this 1/2-inch ribbon through there, and so I kind of need a bigger hole. So I just cut a bit off. Let's see if we can feed it through here. Yeah, having a bigger hole is easier with this wider ribbon. If you're just doing yarn or something, you can do the smaller. All right, and there's our cute little tag, and we're gonna stick that in this pocket here. And that'll kind of peek up out of the top of the journal. So let's make them a little bit more even. There we go. Then we've got 2 other tags, so we're gonna have to stick one here. So let's punch a hole here. And I've got some more kind of brown piece of this ribbon. This ribbon is just 100% cotton fabric, just cut into a ribbon. So if you've got strips of fabric or old sheet or something, that's a great option for this as well. All right, and we'll tuck this in here behind the penguin. Got it right this time. And the snowflake, let me do something different. I want to show you a different way you can do this. and it's gonna go back here. And I'm gonna grab a little scrap of lace. I'm gonna fold it into a V shape. And now I'm probably gonna, I don't know, I'll trim the tops at the end. And then I'm just gonna layer it over this tag, over that white hole, and grab a stapler and just staple it on. And now we've got quick, easy texture, and it's less bulky. When you feed it through and do a loop, it adds a lot of bulk. You guys can see here. This is nice and flat. I like to do both ways, but I can't do tons bulky like this or this thing won't close. So we do this nice and flat, and oh, let's tuck it in. And I think that looks good, but you can trim the top if it's sticking up too far there. And all we have left is this car. So let's flip through and see where we need something extra. It might be fun right here on the back of this. I think we'll do that. Tweezers, if you have those, might be handy when you're doing super tiny fussy cuts. Okay, you guys, and that's it. We made this mini journal. So let's just double check we got everything in here that we wanted, and do a final flip through, and then I'll show you a cute way to close this up, because now that we've put so much stuff in it, it's a little chunky, right? And you can just set it under a heavy book for a day and it'd be fine. But it's always fun to have cute ways to close things. So let's just look at this cute journal here. Here's our cover. Got the snowman. This pocket's got a penguin. It's got the trees. And there's the gingerbread man right behind there. Super cute. I like that this is kind of blocking it, so it's kind of a surprise when you get to him. And then in this pocket, we've got our little coin envelope with our journaling card inside, and our tab on the side to help us pull it in and out of this pocket. And then on the back, we made this pocket into a flip, and we put this cute present tag. And we hid this little car down here, and we turn this ticket into a pocket for this other ticket. We've got Santa here with the label. We've got this coin envelope that flips up. It's got its journaling card in it. Let me get it back in there. And then we've got this little snowman friend, this plainer journaling card, and this tag that we added some lace to. Let's get all these back in here. And then on this side, we'll flip that back down. On the back, we've got this flip out, and we've got these cute little presents inside the envelope. So there is our cute little mini Ginger Frost journal, and an easy way to do a closure. If you haven't already grabbed my free Ginger Frost gift tags, grab those. It's a sheet of 12 gift tags. And I just grabbed some of this like 1/2-inch wide cotton fabric ribbon, sorry. And we're just gonna wrap it around. So I'm just gonna hang this tag here. And we're just gonna go both directions. Keep this, pull it kind of tight to keep this from trying to puff up. You can see how thick it is now. And then when they both end on the front, we're just gonna tie a cute little bow. And this will keep everything neat and tidy, especially if you're wanting to tuck this into something else, like a pocket in a large journal, into a Christmas stocking, something like that. This will keep it nice and tidy. All right. Somehow the ends were even last time I did it, but they're not now. But you should always trim them off after you tie your bow to make each side even, which I will do. I'm not sure how they came out different. Let's see, we're gonna go like that. And there we go. And this gift tag you can write to and from on, and it's super cute and ready for gift giving or keep for yourself as something like fun to journal in and decorate your house with for the holidays. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video tutorial. I love making these little things with you. I hope you had fun crafting along with me, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.